Hey, good morning, Matt. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
Yeah. Are you
Chaotic week.
here with us? Are you present?
It's kind of no. There's just a lot going on. So we
I
set a
know.
all hands meeting with my team before this, um, and then yeah, it was like a lot of questions came up because we're doing new things. So um, just trying to ramp down from that. But it was a great call. Um, it was a great call. So I wouldn't
Well,
say
you
really
will
all hands, like
see.
partial all hands. I have to because my team's in two different time zones, so I got to do like
Yeah.
one conversation with one person or a few other people, and then break it up
Your all
again.
hands is like a global all hands where you have to meet people where they are in their time zone.
Yeah, no, we try to do same time zone, but the folks in Japan is sometimes hard. Just sometimes a little harder. U.S. folks are flexible, but the Japanese folks is a little bit harder to meet. Either early in the morning or late at night. So I was like, it's okay.
Well, our mornings are starting out completely different because I am sipping the world's largest cup of coffee. It's not the world's largest, but it's a very large cup of coffee because I started out my Friday not as I intended and very, very sleepy because two of my three children were up last night at different hours of the night for various reasons. And so I'm coming into the working world today as a very sleepy mom, working from home, which is what I did not intend. But we're here and we're doing it. So I love the contrast of our two lives and how we come to the table and literally are showing up in a very completely different way. And I have kind of checked my inbox this morning to see a couple of really exciting things come through, but I haven't even gotten to respond to them yet. So we shall see. But the workday is literally starting with this recording, and then I can roll into it because I'm waking up. I'm like halfway through this, so we're getting there.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. Friday's always weird because it's either a catch-up day or it is a relaxing day. It's never like, oh, it's normal day of getting work done because
I agree with that.
it's
Yep.
never. I don't know why. It's
Fridays are
never.
always the toss up. And I think when you work for yourself, I'm not going to say a generalization. I'm going to say for me, as a founder of 12 years, when you work for yourself, Fridays are the most contradictory day of the week for me because Fridays are always the wild card, like what you just said. But for me, I used to go into it thinking that I was the problem. And I'm like, what the hell? Why can't I just make a Friday like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Because I just dominated and my energy was so different. And I thought it was me. And so I spent literally years of my working career for myself with guilt, with shame, with new routines, new processes. I was doing all the self-help books and the organization and the priority management. And I was like, holy shit, I don't know when that changed. I want to say maybe if I bring some awareness to it within the last 2 years, a decade of like going through that, which is really sad. Because now what you just said, I think it's a toss up and it needs to be. It's like Friday could either be a whole day of relaxation, a throwaway day. Maybe it's a go take care of your appointments day. Maybe it's wow, you have an event and you're going to go connect and have some amazing conversations day. But it's never the same. And
Yeah, I think everyone's different. Everyone's different on that. It's like I think it's where you where you are in your life really defines your Friday. So I'll give you an
ooh,
example.
I like that.
If you're not really that social, Friday actually is just another day,
Okay.
right? Everyone is definitely more social on Friday. So if you tend to be a hermit and you stay in your home or stay in your office a lot,
Mm-hmm.
Fridays doesn't feel anything different. But
Okay.
if you do go out, you get invited. That's where the toss up. That's where that comes from, right?
Okay. I could see
If
that.
you have a family and you have Friday night out, like same thing. It's the same thing. So
Yeah.
um,
Like I'm
where
already
you are,
checked out because my husband turned 40 on Wednesday. So we've been having a stellar week, which is why my energy today is like, especially with last night and the kids being up. And I know what plans are coming up, which are a surprise to everybody this afternoon when I pick them up from school. Like my mind is already in the family fun
right?
zone of the next 3 days because we have Monday off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm in really trying hard to ground myself and tether to today before 3 p.m. and like be present in my workday because of all of the phenomenal things that I know are coming, especially when you plan all of them. Like I've planned all of this fun and I'm like, holy shit, like why am I sitting here working? I just want to go.
I mean, if I'm ever like that, I just don't work that day. That's kind of
Really?
how I see it. It's just a waste then. You're just wasting
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I only
Um,
have 3 conversations today and a couple of like heads down projects I really wanted to finish if I can.
mhm.
But you're right. I mean, I have to really plug it in and find that flow.
I find it a lot easier to be like, okay, is today gonna be fun day? Just to make today Saturday and tomorrow Friday. That's how I really rewire everything. If
Yeah.
Saturday can't be Friday, how about Sunday? You just pick a day.
I
As long
love
as
that.
it's much easier.
Transpose your days. Friday's Sunday, Sunday's Friday. Just throw it out the
I've done
window.
that during the
Isn't
week.
that
It's like,
flexibility though incredible? I mean, can you imagine
yeah, it is
people who are
nice.
not founders and don't work for themselves and they're not self-employed and they don't have that flexibility and you have to show up for someone else in a job with other people that requires an energy of you that you just don't have that day? I mean, could you imagine how hard that would be?
Yeah, I mean, some days you just have to get through it. Some you have no choice but to get through it. But
I know, but
the
I
days,
haven't been there in 13 years. Like I haven't been owned. I don't even know how to
oh,
do
well,
that.
that's not true because when you get a client and you got to show up for a meeting that you don't want to show up for, that's the
Yes
same
and
thing.
no, but here's what I do. And this is also my privilege and I understand that. But when I have a client meeting that day, if my energy is really not there, I actually check in with the client and I say, hey, do you guys have flexibility to move this to another day this week? I really want to give you my all. And I've had some things today that are distracting me from that. And if we need to have it, I'll show up. But if not, like I don't say it like that, but essentially it's the gist of the conversation. And 99% of the clients I work with will pivot and they'll
I think
actually
it's
say,
because of the clients you choose, though. It's the
exactly.
clients you choose.
But that's why you work for yourself, right? That's that freedom. And I want to show up for people with
Right.
the energy that they need
That's
and it
fair.
deserves. And it's the clients that I choose that know I'm a parent, that know I am, running the company. And there are some days that truly, and I don't do that a lot. I'm going to preface it with that. It's very rare, but I've gotten to do that in the past. It's a
It's rare
privilege.
for me too. Yeah, it's not like a common thing.
Like I don't force, if I'm truly fighting against what that day is calling on me, I will have those conversations with people and pivot.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of giving myself grace first and then saying, all right, these other people are going to understand. And almost every time I've done that, the other person is grateful because something's going on their end too. And they needed someone to initiate the change, but they felt bad and didn't want to reschedule.
Well, that's just
It's
luck.
really
That's
fascinating.
just coincidence.
Yes, but I mean, it happens a
No, it's
lot.
yeah, and I have I'm really I'm on the other side of the table against this.
Okay, let's do
If
it.
you put a meeting in the calendar, fucking stick to it because you're telling other people you got to meet this too. They may be moving meetings around to make sure that meeting can work. You don't know that,
Oh, true.
right? They may making
Okay.
sure that mentally they're in the right space before they make it, and then you send an email saying we're going to cancel it. It's like, oh well, okay, you could have just told me that sooner. But
I
there's no
see.
sooner. But that's what goes through
Yeah.
people's heads, right?
No, that's a very valid point. And a lot of people, for the kind of energy that our meetings take in the branding space, do adjust their days accordingly for what kind of energy they need to be showing up with. You're absolutely right. It is an unfair
I see
thing.
your angle too because I have done that, but I don't do it. The meeting thing I really try not to do, but even transpositioning days where like, okay, Friday is going to be like a Sunday. I don't like doing that a lot either because my team depends on me. If I'm taking the day off, they're freaking, they know like, oh, Matt's, the little green dot's not on. It's like, he's just fucking around today.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a very fair argument actually. And at what point does it make, at what point is it going to be a negative for you to shift and give flexibility?
the
I don't
stakes are
know.
not, so this is a very simple equation. That's why I asked, you're choosing your clients because the stakes are not high enough.
Yeah.
When the stakes are higher, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You really can't.
And it's a type of client. When I worked with the city of Inglewood, that was a whole, department of people that if we had a meeting, I didn't have that flexibility. That client,
Right.
was like me being owned. It was, I am your contractor and I am going to show up and we have these commitments, and I couldn't do that with that. Right. But
See,
if it is
again, this is where I'm the opposite, because all my customers owe me then. I will make sure every single customer is addressed. Now, sometimes there's a conflict. That's different.
yeah.
But if it's like a reasonable Monday through Friday kind of thing, and they want to schedule a call with me, whether a $9 a month customer or they're my largest customer, I give them the same attention.
As you should. As you should.
So in that context, like, I can't cancel it. Like, but I don't see them, they own me either. I see them as like, this is a service that I provide. This is my work. Like, it's my job to show up. It's not that they own me or not. It's my job to say, I got to meet you where you're at, because my competitor will do it if I don't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, that's not written. I know there's so many more variables, but that's kind of like business in a vacuum, right? We do these things because we're trying to do a better service. Sometimes that better service needs to outcompete the other. Not all the time, but sometimes it does. And these small things add up into goodwill of like keeping a long-term customer. So if I'm trying to run a sustainable business, I need to make sure everyone's addressed. I don't care who it is. If they're a user of ChipBot and they'd be like, Matt, I need help. I really need help. Can you jump on this? Or, hey, I want to discuss an opportunity that I want you to ship out. It's a disservice for my whole mission to say, oh yeah, let's meet. And then, right before the meeting or the day before, canceling, because it's showing
this is such a fluid topic though. It's such a variable topic, and it's fluid, because I could see the argument for some clients loving the flexibility and you doing that with them, so that you're modeling that they can do that with you, which feels really nice because they're working with somebody who understands that life is going to have ebbs and flows and you're going to have to adjust. But at the same time, it's what you're saying. It's that customer service. It's making sure that you're showing up, and it's living by what you say you're going to do. Right. So it's a very fluid thing, and how to know when you can be flexible versus you shouldn't. Right. That's a judgment call as an owner and a founder taking your customers through their journey. That is a fine line. I have definitely actually been in hot water for doing this before with a client. And that was one of the rare, 10% cases where I thought I would have more grace, and had to end up taking my kid to the doctor. And so I was like, I have an appointment. I got to go.
Well, that's different. That's a really valid reason though. I mean, that's not, we're talking about things where we just don't feel energy. Like right.
But I ended up having some words with this person because they were really frustrated. So, but then it was a tell of, are they an aligned client for our business and the way that we operate, right? And maybe they're not. So it's just like when you hold any boundary in a relationship, it sometimes brings up.
So this is what I mean by stakes. In that situation, you should have your lieutenant show up then. If you have a lieutenant, your stakes should be high enough. Where you can. Stakes change a lot of things, because once the stakes are higher, you have to show up, but then you have to solve the situations where you need to be flexible.
Right.
So in order to be flexible, you have to have someone to go on your behalf then, if that's part of the core business model.
Sure. Absolutely. That's actually a very valid statement. That's something that came up last year that hit me when I was doing a proposal for work, and they said, well, who's your backup? Because we've been burned before, when you're sick or when life happens or you get hit by a bus or whatever, and we need this project to continue in your absence. And that was a really valid conversation of what we're talking about. You need to have a backup. Anybody, if it's somebody on your team that can have the conversation on your behalf, there has to be some type of a backup. You cannot be an island of one.
If the stakes are high, if the stakes justify.
If the stakes are high enough.
It's not if you're a solopreneur and revenue really it's not at a ridiculous level, great, you just have to say no. What are you going to do? You lose a client, Otherwise, right? Or you do what you do, you choose the right customers or choose the right potential clients, right? One of the two. So, or there's more two options. So either way, once the stake gets higher, what happens is you have more things, accountability rises. We'll say it like that. Accountability rises. And absolutely, as a business owner, if you want to maintain the fluid state you have, you need to solve that accountability factor first, because that is just because you're fluid doesn't mean other people aren't. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, this reminds me of an amazing conversation I had with a female business owner in the Northeast. And we were talking about what she does in her business to safeguard the experience. And it was really cool because she said she actually teaches workshops to other business owners on how to do this after she figured it out. And it was almost like a life insurance plan for her business. So she met this other business owner when they do similar things. And instead of viewing each other as competitors, she saw the opportunity to start shadowing each other's work and CC each other on every important client communication and project to keep them in the know and bring them along the journey. Now, they didn't have to attend each other's calls all the time, but they did a lot of the discovery calls together, the client kickoff calls, and then the overview of the project ahead, so that they were each other's insurance plan because they were solopreneurs. And she basically has this whole concept of find a business owner that's not going to be a partner in your business legally. They don't have to be, you could set up, legal actions to make them an access, a manager, a content manager, whatever it needs to be on all of your accounts, a signer in your bank account. So it takes high trust, but it's essentially a ghost or like a quiet partner that if something happens to you tomorrow, your business can proceed, and this other person, you have an agreement, and she has a contract where you have an agreement that this person will come in and work on your behalf for whatever reason while you are incapacitated.
She must be much older then.
Yes.
I couldn't see myself in that situation.
Isn't that fascinating though? It was the first time I had heard that concept of kind of this backup person that's not really in your business.
Why not just sell the business then? Then she doesn't want to sell it. She doesn't want to sell it. No. And what if it's just something where you're out for 3 months or 6 months? It could be not sellable either.
Yeah, but what if it's just short term? I mean, she's talking about just like a short term injury or something that you can't attend to your business. Someone else can step in and pick things up. It's like a short term.
Okay, so then the business that means the business is not sellable because it needs you to operate.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a service-based consulting type business that so many of us have that count on you being present for that to be delivered.
Yeah. I mean, so I wouldn't say it's life insurance then. It is protection. It's basically to say consultancy has feast and famine, and there are more than one way to get in the famine period. Here's one way to protect against it. Right. And it's not like consultancy, there's really not competitors, right? I worked in, when I was really hardcore in consulting in 2014, I was in an office full of other developers, whatever they do, right? No one's competing in each other. We're all doing the same thing, but no one's on the same bid. Yeah. There's a lot of work. There's so much work. So there's no really competing. So it makes sense. It makes sense to say, hey, here's another friend doing the same thing, or it would be a friend, for sure, a friend in this case. Like having a good referral network. If something happens, could we step in? I could do the same thing for you. And it's basically just like, it's like an Uber employee. Like you just go on your phone and be like, hey, I just need you to do this for a bit. And then time period.
It's almost like a tap in plan. You like have your small list of referral partners. You say, hey, if something ever happens to me, I'm going to tap you in and just refer them over to you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I
think with this insurance plan, though, it's the point of, the customer doesn't have to tell their story more than once type of thing. So if you refer them over, they're going to kind of have to start at ground zero with that person. But if this person has been included and following along in all of the things, they can then jump in and just pick up the reins versus the customer feeling like, oh, no, I have to go somewhere else and start new.
Yeah, that's a tough business. That's a tough business to be in, then.
I know.
Business. Yeah,
I know. That's one of the things that we're doing this year with the rebrand with Fix Inform is making sure that the business can still proceed without me. And so it's been an interesting model.
And I think it needs you more than ever, actually. I don't think.
Why?
I think it needs you more than ever. No, because you're the engine. Take away the engine, how are you going to grow? That when I say you can walk away, you can't grow when you walk. It's a fact for sure. When you walk away, you can't grow. The whole idea of walking away.
We're not walking away. me rephrase. I'm not doing all of the things and the jobs involved in our brand
It's true, but
experience.
the details
selling.
count. The details count for growth, unless you're unless you're at scale. Unless you're at scale, then it doesn't matter. No, I say this because the day we talk about the days that, or take a day off or whatever. Or I have staff that they just make sure the boat doesn't sink or the servers don't go on fire. That's their job, or customers don't leave out. It's not meant to be like, great, now do what I did and keep growing the company. That's not what their job is. That's my job. So if you want to fix and form, and you're saying, I want to, walking away is probably too harsh of a term. It's more like you want to delegate more. Delegating
more and just talking about it, networking, selling it, bringing in the business, and then making sure everybody is doing their job.
I would assert that if you're at that stage, then the only thing you should be very little managing and lots of selling. And if the selling hasn't changed, then it's clearly not the managing it's not the team that's the issue.
Yeah.
I would say it like that, because I have running consultancy shops. In small, I would say like agency teams of like 30 to 40. You still got to be in the weeds. There's like no way around it, because there's three scenarios I can think for consultancy. It's prospecting, which takes a huge amount of time of the day.
Yeah.
It is a fire in a project, which will never go away. And it is I wouldn't say it's, I want to put that in prospect. And then the last thing would be team issues. Now, if if your team isn't big enough, no, you still have team issues, even in the team size of 3, because you have 3 good months, and then you have a shitty 4th month. That always happens too.
Yeah.
So those 3 things, if your job is only prospecting, that's fine. The other folks, what happens is you still have to be in the weeds of the other 2, because the customer where the project's running behind, they kind of need your voice to make sure everyone's happy anyway. Even if your voice is not required, you still have to show up anyway, because because you just showing up just kind of makes that project better, just in general.
Right. You're right. This just happened this week.
It's the same thing. If my boss isn't, let's say I'm an employee of you, if my boss is busy sales, okay, I mean, sure, I'm not going to blow up every day, but the fire is not there. It's different. It doesn't matter about trust, doesn't matter about anything. It's just the fire is not there. When you don't have fire, ultimately you get lazier, subconsciously. You just get lazy. You got to show up for them too.
So maybe it's kind of a hybrid. It's when we find out about the funding, right? I don't know if I've updated you on this, that for the first time ever, we fundraised. So we're in the end process of delivering all of the components needed to apply for our first loan. We are getting closer to seeing if they're going to move forward with us or not to go into underwriting. And if Fix and Form gets funded, I have an entire 6-month plan and forecast ready to go I also have 2 people waiting in the wings. One is an out-of-state kind of contractor that's going to help, more of like that fractional director of ops person. And then I have a longer-term local Colorado resident who I'm looking at for being the fractional COO in the future. And they're going to be running all the day-to-day process, contracts, all the legal stuff, all the, looking at managing the people, the projects, the clients, the widgets, the things. Like, that's what I've really needed to be my partner. And then they would manage a VA. They would manage like all of those things, because I'm just not that person. But I am at some level with the energy and the vision and the strategy. But I need someone to meet me in the.
You got to be there at sales too. You got to be there at sales too. Yeah,
exactly. But
if they're going to do operations, you have to do sales. Yeah, that's
the plan is, like, if we get this funding, or this funding was a practice exercise to go into another round of fundraising elsewhere and continue doing it, since we have all the reports ready to go and knowing what we need to do that. At some level, I know I need to be funded in some regard to grow my team, whether that looks like us getting some big projects that I struggle through again and I do everything, and then finally those projects pay for that person, or I actually get funded. I don't know, but that's the goal. We need another person. We need another person at the helm that is still that can see me in the vision, can see me in the future planning, but then is the integrator and the implementer, and they are the person that's on the day-to-day managing and doing, but they need to be able to have conversations with me quickly to check in or bring me in for that energy and that kind of cohesive
The
team
plan is
strategy.
really good. I think it feels more of a startup still.
Oh, absolutely. Like I still joke about Fix and Form as being around for 12 years, but it's been like I've grown it so slowly in terms of a traditional business growth because I've had to be such in the weeds with motherhood. And like I've had 3 children and was at home with them their first 2 to 3 years of life while doing business on the side. So it hasn't been.
No, but I wasn't even thinking about longevity, right? No one actually, this is somewhat of a trap for most founders. There's no point thinking of how long you've been around. There really is no point.
There is no point. I was actually just going to say that.
Yeah, you just think about where you are kind of currently. What's your state of the company?
Exactly.
So I wasn't even considering the past. I was just like, oh, you're a startup then.
The phase we're in for this kind of business that we've evolved into is a startup. For the old kind of business that we were, great. That was more of a consulting biz where Anne had some contractors that helped her get shit done. Mm-hmm. Where we're going is a high culture, high collaborative team agency feel, but it's the firm. That's why we've changed our name from a strategic branding agency to a Denver branding firm. A firm is a team of collaborators that are usually contractors that work on the same mission and the same purpose. So when I looked that up, I was like, that's exactly where we're going. It's not agency. We've never been agency, which is clunky employees, brick and mortar, a lot of overhead. It's firm. It's you're a firm of people getting shit done, but you're all also very independent on your own. So thinking through that, having team meetings, getting together monthly, shifting to just Colorado, just local. Every team member lives in the state. We can all show up in person when needed. We want to be doing business in person more so than on the computer. So like everything is shifting. And when that happened, this is a much bigger thing than where I've been. So yeah, for this kind of business that I'm evolving it into, it's not Anne as a consultant. It's Anne is doing the strategy, kind of clarifying audits up front. And those can lead into, being a full agency branding project, or those can just be my little strategy consulting on the side that doesn't need my team.
Well, everything makes sense. I'm going to challenge you on one thing, which is you have given me a really good vision of how the company operates, but you have never described anything how you get sales.
Yeah. So
there's a big problem there because
I know
you should be the reverse. If you're so good at visioning the operations, it sounds like you should be the operations person, because the sales is what, okay, I'm a software engineer by background. Do I ever really talk about software engineering? No, my day and day out is marketing and sales. Mm-hmm. And then the other component is a little bit of management, a little bit with the team. Yeah. That and customer support, that's another big piece. That's like what I live in. That's what I breathe in. That's what I forecast in. I don't talk, my operations, my coding, the design work, all that other stuff, all over here. I am better at that work than I am at sales and marketing. Uh-huh. But that work is shoved up to other folks. So that when I hear the vision you're saying, it really feels like you're a visionary for operations, not a visionary for sales. That's going to be if that's true, if that is true. I know it's not. Yeah. But if that becomes true as a self-fulfilling prophecy of how you're talking about it, that will become a problem with how to say, you bring on, say you get funding, bring on the folks. Now you got 6-month runway. How did you get sales if you weren't even talking about sales this whole time? You're just talking about operations.
That's such a valid point. I feel like because of the fundraising activity, I've had to be in the weeds so much lately of ops and like how I'm going to use the money and how I'm going to allocate, which is mostly for operations of this new vision of this business. So that's where my brain's been.
That makes sense.
But at the same time, I don't want to be that. You're right. It's not my wheelhouse. It's actually really been challenging for me because I'm having to pull together some of this shit. And I'm like, I don't know, like it's just going to work. But I've had to like really sit down and go against how my brain thinks, because I sell all the time. I sent out 3 proposals yesterday based off of calls that I just had. I am networking. I am talking. I am being a guest on podcasts. I'm now switching up my social media game. I'm now doing some email campaigns where I'm just pitching my brand therapy session packages, where it's just that. And then every conversation I have is going to those two goals of selling, either booking a speaking engagement, which I've booked 2 for Q1, by the way. I have 2, and then I have 1
That was
guest
under the
lecturing.
Anglepsy branding, right?
Yeah, that's all Ann Gillespie, like thought leadership stuff. But I had the goal of booking 1 for Q1, and that was it, like in December. Nice. And I have 2 booked that are going to be phenomenal. And then 1 guest lecturing opportunity for I forget which university is in Chicago. I should tell you. I'm virtually
University of Chicago.
it might be that. It's I don't know. It might be the University of Chicago.
There's UIC, DePaul. There's a few.
I have to get the college. So a good friend and colleague of mine is a professor there. So she's bringing me in virtually to talk to her kind of entrepreneur business class virtually, which I'm excited about.
They got a big presence on that stuff. There's a place called 1871. I used to go there a lot.
Cool.
That's where like all the entrepreneurs just hang out. You know, these are people who have just big ideas but don't have necessarily good companies yet. I love that. It's this huge space in Merchandise Mart.
That's cool.
And Merchandise Mart is a huge spot. Anyway.
But bringing it back to sales.
Yeah.
Every conversation I'm having, which has been, networking events, and then like 8 follow-up coffee chats and lunches and calls from that. Like I'm talking to people all the time. Everybody asks why my days are so busy, right? People see my calendar and they're like, holy shit. I'm like, I talk to someone at least every day. Like there's a minimum of 1, if not more, conversations that's just networking or following up or building relationships or selling every day. But I'm also an extrovert. So there's rarely, I actually don't think I've had a day in my history where I've not had some conversation and it's just work and heads down time ever. Like there's always something, but that feels more comfortable for me. But that's why this has been challenging, which is why I am so much in the vision of the structure of the company to get funded, because I have to prove to investors that I'm a big girl and I know what I'm doing. And I can say, okay, this is my 6-month plan. This is how I intend to use the money. This is how I'm going to have money left over. This is my marketing budget. This is my people budget. This is my, scaling the website and redoing that, which Shannon just started on our website rebrand. And I'm stoked, but I've had to do all that too, like write all the copy, do our new brand guidebook, think through all of like the what we're selling, which has been hard. It's all that big, like working on the business versus in it. So while I'm doing all these exercises and trying to avoid burnout, I'm also having all these conversations to pitch and sending out proposals left and right. But what's felt really cool, this is where I shifted. This has felt great this month that I didn't have last month. I ended up looking at where all of our clients start. Every client at Fix Inform starts at that brand therapy session, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. You all get the 90-minute talk therapy to establish the guts and the content and the session notes of what's going to eventually build your brand guidebook, which is that Bible. And then it's eventually going to be the source for all of the website copy and all of the marketing content and the language guide. So nothing can happen without my brand therapy sessions. Well, I just decided to start selling those as a one-off for clarity, refining with executive leadership and founders as my own consulting bundle, whether it goes into agency work or not. So it's not now, it's not with the expectation that you have to be a Fix Inform branding firm client to get those sessions. I'm now separating those sessions as you're going to still work with me in that work. And then that work is going to be telling whether that's all the work you needed and you're good to go, because not everyone needs a full brand refresh, or if you actually need to go through our agency's process of a full brand refresh, and then that will be the funnel for that work for the team. But that's allowed me to sell more of them because I haven't attached the two. They're not codependent, that if I sell my brand therapy, then it has to go into a Fix Inform client process, which is muddy right now because that's everything that's being evolved with my team and the management of that. And that's felt heavy to me. That's where I got burnt out.
I am going to say you're probably going to be burnt out no matter what in 2 months. Because no, because even when you get the sales piece, you're doing a lot of motion, but the pipeline. Here's another way to look at it. I know you're going to getting a loan, which is banks. It's a little different or whatever. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
like a pool of investors. It's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
If you were pitching to investors, great, you have all this operation, but you only have 6 months of runway. Where are you at in your pipeline? Are you at capacity where you actually need operations? Like, where is that? And what's that dollar amount? And if you're at capacity and this is a dollar amount and you add
Yeah.
operations, great, you get the loan a loan is just is training wheels, basically. Just training wheels to make your sales match what your expenses are going to be.
Okay.
I would ask, where are you at your sales and how are you going to get there in 6 months?
Yeah.
Because you finish all this, I think you're going to be at a phase where things are going to take longer than they should and more painful than you want it to be. There's never a situation where it's reverse.
Yeah.
And I say it as because it helps prepare what true, we talked about grit a little bit, what you really have to get done. Because I think all this makes sense. I actually now see why you're in this field, because in order to get the loan, in order to secure funding, you have to know the space really well. But even if you solve that, I really feel, sales motion to get the pipeline finished, right?
Yeah.
That takes a long time.
Yeah.
You're still at the beginning of that stage. A lot of these things take 6 months to percolate.
True.
So if you think about it, you really need that pipeline at the top. Maybe even before the loan, whatever your capital closes, because
you're absolutely right.
Because it's going to take a couple of months for operations to really get your vision executed, and in a good case.
Yeah.
And then you need to make sure all day long you're basically just telling people, no, we are at capacity. I'm available in the next quarter, right? That should be really happening by that motion should be really happening by the end of this quarter, because otherwise the timing doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
Right.
Unless you're raising a huge amount of capital and you have a year's
That's such
runway.
a good wake-up call, though, because the sales funnel, the sales cycle for our new project size and the new client that we're shifting into is longer. It's going to be more of that 3-month mark, whereas before it was a small business owner, a solopreneur. I could sell them in maybe less than a couple of conversations.
Right.
But this one is going to take some more time. There's a lot more people involved. They're going to have to go through a lot more hoops to get there. And so you're right. I think that
it's not guaranteed. You actually need a few of those. You need a few of them to make the odds to make the math work.
And the way that we're looking at the pipeline now moving forward is running with this system, starting with 3 clients a quarter, really not overdoing it. Just keep rolling 3 clients a quarter.
30 leads. That's 30 leads.
Yeah, exactly.
You need 30 people, regardless of where they are in the stage, every quarter. At the beginning, well, not beginning, but somewhere first, second, month 1 and month 2.
You're right. And so this is a really fascinating place to shift. This is what I actually love talking about. It's getting me out of the weeds of all of the ops and the structure and how we run it and the personnel. And I think as the loan people are doing their thing, whether we get the loan or not, we're going to need to fill our pipeline for this year regardless. And however much I step in or out of that, that's just based on the loan. To me,
that's the higher priority. You can get the other folks to be like, yo, if you guys can figure out the details for the loan, you get your own money. You're basically getting your own money. That's why in my head, I don't know why you're doing all the work for them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. It's a good wake up call for me to think about, because it's something that has been in the back of my mind for a while of when am I going to be able to just focus on the pipeline and get that.
It's not when you have, it's a requirement.
I have to.
It's a requirement every day.
It said, we're ready to book clients Q2. We're using all of Q1 right now to plug Q2 and get that pipeline bursting. And then when that's full, we're plugging Q3. So it's very
then the operation stuff makes sense, because you're going to be like, yo, I can't even sell because you guys suck. So you guys need to make your operations better, right? It makes a lot more sense to be like, I will give you money because I know you will fulfill the sale. You can pay me back in 6 months, right? It makes sense for anyone to give you money, but you got to solve that piece first, because you got to be really bursting with a burning problem that's no brainer. Give Ann all the money, because there's no risk. There's risk, but it's not really risk because she's at her capacity.
I love that. No, this is great. And this actually aligns with a conversation I had yesterday with the event planners of the February event that I'm speaking at. and facilitating. There's a lot of really great, at the speaking events that I'm doing, there's a lot of really great opportunity for those people to become clients with where they work. And so that's a volume play. I need to be in more of those rooms where I can position myself as the thought leader and the expert in this, and then say, this is the work that my company does.
Plug in the company. Yeah. You and I are on the same page there. Yeah.
I love that. This has been so great. I'm glad that this got brought up today, because this is the first wake up call I've had. I've talked to everybody about the plans, right? And the ops and the fundraising, and it's all exciting. And at the same time, it's, where is the sales part of it? And I also think that's what the potential investors and the funding group is going to be looking at, is where's the pipeline? Where's
They'll
that?
ask it right at the end, right when you're done talking. They'll be like, okay, this is great. How are you going to support it after the loan's
exactly done? And I've had to spend so much time working on building the front end and the ops and the forecast and the financials. And it's like, oh no, it's the sales. So I think this is going to shift my direction, like today, of some of the things that I've been working on heads down, of just getting lead generation in there, which is, it's talking to people. It's hosting those round tables. You're really
good at that. I know you're really good at that. So
it's getting myself to more events to just keep talking. Years ago, I had an executive coach, and she told me this, and we can end here for today. This is a really great tip. She said, Anne, you just have to be having at least 5 coffee chats a week. Now that's like at a minimum. I need you to have way more than that, but you just need to talk to people. You will sell anything with your passion and your communication to anyone that you want to, if you get in front of them and talk, but it's a volume game. She said, you have not been successful because you're not meeting a minimum requirement of conversations. So for work for you to grow, you just need to be talking. I don't care where you talk, you have to talk. And so I keep going back to this tip countless times and say, I need to have a minimum of this many coffee chats or virtual chats on my calendar a week. Where I get those from? Networking events. Go. Like I've been like, oh, I'm so sick of networking, or I'm quitting networking, or it's not producing what I want. No, it's a volume game. You have to keep positioning yourself in the right room, which I have. This week I've pivoted and I joined 2 new groups and quit some other groups. And now I'm in the room with retired executives who are now entrepreneurs and looking for businesses to fund, or looking for businesses.
Retired executives. What age is that? What age is that?
60 plus.
Oh, I gotta copy this clip, send it to my friend. He's an executive. He's been trying to start a business for the past 10 years and can't figure it out. He's 40 years old.
This group, it was a gold mine. I went to this coffee networking this week, and I didn't want to go for a while. And finally I was like, I'm just going to go. It was one of the best coffee networking rooms I've ever been in. I'd say probably 60 plus people. It was massive. And then it was intentional. There were presentations from founders from years ago to now of their success story and what they've done in the group. And then there was there was a half split, probably 50-50 of the older executive still working, or the older retired executive that's now the founder, advisor, and entrepreneur and investor capital connection, which is what I need. And then there's also probably 50% of not out of college 22-year-olds, I'm starting my own business startup group, which was where I've been mostly. And I'm like, this is not my audience. It was 35 plus who have had successful or unsuccessful founder stories, who had their own businesses or worked in a business that's now established. And it was so cool. And the variability of the room of people who worked in companies that could use us or owned companies that could use us, I was like, this is probably one of the best rooms I've ever been in. And I have 8 follow-up conversations, and I had 2 people interested in proposals just from that 1 coffee 2-hour session. So anyway, I'm on fire for it, because I'm like, okay, I just need to be showing up into these different rooms, joining these different groups, being a part of the conversation. And that is exhausting, and that takes time. And I haven't had the time to give to it because I've been working on this other bullshit, as you've known, for all of last year, that I'm too busy and I have too much going on. So that took me, I say this all the time, 2026, I went small to grow big. So I niched down everything that I'm working on to 2 goals, which and that's it. And if it's not in that wheelhouse, I'm not, we're backburnering a lot of tend to launch stuff. We are we are just focusing on these two goals, which has been so helpful in my time management, because now I'm finding more time in my schedule that I'm protecting to go to these events and then have heads down time on following up with the events. And maybe I lead like a virtual or an in-person mastermind roundtable for leaders in Denver on the branding landscape. Like I've been thinking about doing that too, which would be lead generating. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just go do five more meetups, 5 more one-on-ones a week, which then equates to probably 2 of those big meetup events a month. That's your pipeline. Well, a pipeline. That's all. So your executive coach is right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's
like I'm
right.
joining the
You actually
Colorado.
have more energy coming out of that anyway. So that's where your attention should be. All the other stuff is like, I'm already bored of it.
Yeah. No, exactly.
I'm like,
no,
other
you're
stuff
right.
is like anyone could solve.
I'm joining, it's interesting. I'm now joining the Colorado chapter of NSA, National Speakers Association, and I'm doing an event with them in February to go like network among speakers, because that's a goal of mine. It's let's get in the room with speakers and people who elevate and book
a little bit
speakers.
ahead of you, yeah. For
and
speaking.
then and then there is this startup coffee I went to, which was phenomenal. I'll go every month. And then there is this other group I joined called Civico, which is really cool. It's a Colorado networking group for civic people in civic jobs, and it's nonprofit, private, and public sectors. And it's just a vast amount of executives, C-suite, leadership type people in these jobs that are all for the betterment of the community and humanity, which aligns with my human-centric brand design. And it finally aligned with my mission. And so I'm going to be kind of circulating in there, and then they pull public speakers and panelists for their events from their group. So then we talked about me getting booked there for speaking gigs. So it kind of does both. So I've just really been strategic about where I'm showing up, and then just monthly doing these 3 or 4 different groups and networking and meetups, and just booking as many follow-up chats as I can with people for either referrals or work. I used to put so much energy into just one conversation, thinking I had to sell that one person. And it wasn't a volume game for me. It was like a performance precision thing. And I realized it's not any of that. It's all volume. I need to be having, 5 conversations a day, if I can, that are 30 minutes each, to just be showing up in front of people with my energy. And something is going to come out of it. So I really realigned where I am going to be selling and how. And I used to think, oh, it's social media marketing and it's lead generation online. And sure, your site needs to have solid SEO set up so that you can get traction. Your your website has to convert. Oh, this is the final thing. So we just keep talking. This is fascinating. You're going to like this being data. I hired a new blog person like over 6 months ago. She's really, really good. And she does a lot of blog work that's highly converting for content on your site for your specific goals. And my website traffic since hiring her has more than doubled. It's like up 200+% every month. And then my Google profile, I have done so much work with fucking Google. I hate Google, but I finally got some resolution with it. And our profile, we're getting like 60 to 90 profile visits a month for Fix Inform on Google. And then there's like 45 website clicks from that. So like highly converting profile. And the problem is my website traffic is up phenomenally, like in the last 3 months. So everything that we're doing on the front end has been working, but it's not converting. And I know it was the website, and the website is the old brand. So now Shannon and I are on priority to get the new website up and running and done, because the website hasn't been converting. So that's the biggest issue. That's why people hire us. We're step 1. So we're hiring ourselves to do step 1, to say all of our lead generation digitally so far is doing great, but we're not getting discovery calls and converting that traffic because of the actual site. So once we get the website redesign done, and then I get a better hook chatbot video on there, which is also highly converting, I'm hoping that with all of that traffic that we've gained, it's a smooth transition over to converting, because it's a conversion problem.
Yeah, we'll have to talk more about that, because I wonder if, there's a whole conversation of the first video, because I just looked at your website and the first video. First video is straight to booking. And I wonder if that's just too soon.
It is too soon. You're right, because it was Q3 last year that I was starting to do more social media advertising. And I tested an ad that did the same thing. It was, let's tell you a little bit about what we do. And then it was book. It was straight to the booking. And it did not perform well. There were maybe 2 clicks on it. And I realized we're not a product. We're not a straight to booking. It's consulting. It's people. You got to warm them up a bit. You got to date them before you propose.
Right.
So
the first video, the button is maybe more about learn more about our services, so people can just get understanding, and then that could just also link to other videos or link to the services.
Well, what do you think about this? So I was actually going to say our approach is really unique. It's kind of a selling point of being a human-centric brand design firm, because people are like, what does that mean? So I was actually going to use that of learn more about our unique human-centric brand design process and how we approach the branding
have 2
process.
buttons. Do both.
Oh,
because
okay.
You don't want to assume that's everyone, and vice versa.
Okay.
Some people who just services first, then learn who you are. Some other people are the reverse. I want to know who you are before I learn the services. You don't know.
So learn about the process that is unique, being human-centric, and then also learn about more about
give people the choice
service.
Because the funnel is going to come from different perspectives, and that will cover
great.
like 80-90% of them.
And that kind of video with where I'm envisioning recording that with the colors and everything, this is me being on the branding side with the new website background and all of that, is going to be really cool to have that little video pop up and have those 2 avenues to go down, because the new site's going to be very minimalistic. Think a very abstract, minimal, fine art museum. That is the vibe that we're going with, because we're more of a creative firm now instead of all the words. And think of this. So our new tagline is fix your foundation, form your future.
Okay.
And that's why it's Fix and Form. So we're actually branding the name now. And think of like the visual that Shannon had was hands molding clay, like on a wheel. And so it's going to be very art forward, and it's going to be very bright and light and poppy. And we're updating the color palette a bit, and it's very simple. We're going to have the minimums for AI search and SEO search, and then we're going to bring all the blogs over. But aside from that, it's like homepage, about us. We have 1 service offering now, Matt. I really went small to grow big. We're going to have our signature service. That's it. Our branding makeover service of how we refresh brands with human-centered approach. And then our connect with us. And then it's just going to have all the blogs from everything else. That's it. So literally, like, it's going to be so simple to navigate, because people don't want bullshit anymore. And the chip out video is literally like, go to this page and go to this page, and then you're done. That's it.
Who do you serve? Just Colorado only?
Colorado only. Yeah. Okay. We're going to have like 10% for our nationwide referrals, because we have so many amazing referral partners that I've built up over the last 12 years. So if someone comes to me and says, hey, we're, in Seattle and they really could use your help, we're still going to service that, but we're not targeting that. That's going to be like,
I understand. That's organic, like random referrals. Okay. So there's a little bit under 700,000 small businesses in Boulder and Denver combined. So if you take that, the service offering. So I said you need about 30 leads. So I know this is a really bad way of thinking of it, because I've always been in this trap, but I just do it anyway, because it's it's a motivation thing.
Yeah.
Let me do this right. This is 0.0004% of the target. Like, that's all you need to do to get 30 leads. It's like, it's a really, really,
but you did small businesses. We're actually targeting Colorado medium to large businesses and established small businesses. They have to be at least a certain revenue number, 2 million and up, have been in business at least 2 years, have tested their product. We're not working with small businesses. We're working with established or larger small businesses, because it's always gray. Like, how do you define that? But more medium and large businesses. Yeah, we changed our target market.
Yeah, that's harder to find, actually. And get the data on that.
Yeah, there's so many small businesses in Colorado, but with the size of the team that I've grown and what we deliver and the cost of human capital in our process, I realized that I was doing us a disservice. I either need to dwindle down the people involved and reduce my internal touch points of people, or we need to pivot and actually target.
This is a really good insight. Clients. So that means all your sales pipeline takes minimum 3 months to close on. I've done that market before. It's minimum 3 months. So you really need 30 leads now.
I got to step on the gas
because you won't get a single. So you think about it, it takes 3 to 6 months to close. Let's say it's on the optimist again. You get the lead now. April 1st.
Q3.
April 1st, you start the work.
Yeah. Well, if I'm lucky, that's quick.
It's 3 months. Pretty reasonable.
We'll say summer.
I wouldn't say lucky. You need, and it's more than one. That's why I'm saying you are going to burn out. You have no choice. April. What did I say? April
and
1st?
2026 burnout plan. Take one.
Okay, you can party in the Latin. You can take my advice and take your December of next year and just chill out, or this year, whatever this year. Anyway, so April 1st, you start the work.
Yeah.
You bill May 1st. A lot of these bigger companies are not always net 30. It's net 45, net 60. Then, so but we can may say you're aggressive on this.
But we don't start the work until we bill.
Right. Wait, you bill first?
They have to pay for at least 50% of the project at kickoff, or all of it.
That's our term. It's still the same issue. Well, it's still kind of the same
but it's at 30. So you're right. You're not getting paid till May.
No. Still, no. You're getting paid less now. So so this is interesting. So how long do the projects last? Like 2 months?
3 months.
3 months? No, it's the same exact problem, because then I'm assuming you don't get your other half until the project's done then.
Yep.
So it's the same exact problem.
Most of our clients will pay us up front. We've actually had a lot of clients just say, I'll just pay for all of it now, because it's the same cost to them on their books for an annual brand project versus like ongoing monthly marketing. It's not the same. Or they can actually break it up to the entire length of the project. So they'll just take the entire project cost and we'll bill them monthly over 3 months. We do that too.
The larger businesses, you'll have to, whatever their accounting practices are, you actually conform to them usually, because it's a bigger amount. So it's easier to work with their. It's like so the bigger the company, the more the quarters matter, because there's spending limits within the quarter.
You got it. Yep. And the bigger client I had last year, they just wanted to pay because it was monthly spending limits for them. So they just wanted to take the entire contract and split it up into 2. And then like pay the whole thing into, they don't want a lot of little payments. Most of the bigger businesses I've worked with, the small businesses want little payments every single month. The bigger clients that I've had just either want to pay all of it up front in that quarter, because it's a 3-month quarterly project to them, which is why we've strategically positioned it as 3 months in and out, get it done, which is why we're tightening up our internal ops structure to meet that, so that we don't go over, so that they can think of it as a quarterly one-time expense. And usually when you position it that way, they want to pay all of it up front. So like, there's no reason we need to split this up.
So 3 months, April 1st, and then you have all of April, you have all of May, you have all of June. So July 1st is when you actually really get paid, because the final half of that is either profit or that helps. The first half
you're
is
thinking
paid for the other things that need payment now. So you can't do anything with it.
Exactly. So the money I have the freedom to spend, you're right, is going into Q3.
That's what I think about. That's how I always think about it. So
exactly, because all of my people, you have to pay all the expenses. Yes.
So looking at, that's where my rationale with the 30 lead, now even more, because your total,
which is already the 6 month run, the 6 month runway of
being 3 months for sales, 6 months just to get your money.
Yep. So that's looking at 9 months from now, unless I fill it like tomorrow.
No, the 30 days makes sense, because all you have to do is close in 30 days. I'm sorry.
Well, and the loan,
the lead takes 90 days to fulfill.
Yeah, but the loan, if I even get it, because we haven't even gone to underwriting yet, if they even decide to support us and fund us, once that happens, that's a minimum of a 45-day process.
Yeah, but these sales have to happen either way. So
I know.
It doesn't really matter.
This was such a good eye-opening conversation for me that I didn't know I needed to have, Matt, because this is a long runway, and I'm looking at Q3 of having any kind of fun money to play with. That's
exactly.
For maybe even anything,
it could be Q4.
Not even that. It could be Q4, which is such a telling. Like all of the money I get up front is to pay for the people and the widgets and the machine that's like delivering the thing. I'm not even going to have the profit with my increased job size, my improved margins, all of the things that I've spent all this work on doing to protect the company with the funding. And if there's a loan to do it, I'm not even going to be able to pay back that from the profits until 6 to 9 months from now. This is so this is great. This was
And you
like
want to get rid of that loan as fast as possible, right? So once
exactly.
you get the
I don't want
operation,
to
sales has to
on
really
terms.
take off.
Right. So this is this is strategically where my mind is going to go now. And this is great. So this weekend, I'm actually sweeping Trent away. We got a nanny and we've got like a 3-day parents only trip for his birthday. And there's 5 to 6 hours of windshield time in each way. We're going into the mountains. And this is where we talk about this shit. So I'm so glad this conversation happened today because he's really strategic as a product leader, talking about life cycles and launches and sprints and like the trajectory of something being successful. I really want to bring this to our car time conversation because I think between you and him and the way you see things is not the way I do. And you just enlightening me on the true runway that I have for having my fun money, as I call it, to play with in the company is a lot further out than I even thought. My brain was like, oh, yeah, I'll have it from that sale. No. And I have to meet a certain amount of sales to meet my annual ops cost to just run the company without even doing client work, which is the software, the accounts, all the shit, right? And then you've got to subtract that cost from the bottom line to just keep it in the business from the first few clients so that you're solid and you've got your year of costs. And then you then pay the people that are bringing on more of the work. And then you have the money. You're the last
That's
paid.
true. Those details will matter less if you're just already getting sales though, because it's all it
Yeah.
takes is one sale to cover all the little shit. It really doesn't matter.
That's true.
You know, it
The
doesn't
little
matter,
shit
really.
actually would be covered by all the sales. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
One sale.
So I think it's just, you guys just got to get that motion. But yeah, the strategy does make sense because there's a rule. I said this earlier, is like things take longer than they should and it's more painful than you want it to be. That is basically the whole, like everything that you're trying to start from a startup perspective always happens. If things happen early, it's luck. Like you got lucky.
Yeah. Well, and gearing up, I think for the next 6 months for me to really be putting in, like, it's the grit work. It's hitting the ground running and being that aggressive salesperson and selling the shit out of what this is by volume. Because I would rather have the goal and then me hit up here. I'd rather be having like 60 to 90 conversations a month that are all selling what this is. And then, you know, being able to schedule out and say, oh, we're actually backed up for this quarter. We can't start you until Q4. What an amazing problem to have. Or if for some reason we can figure out how to start them sooner.
Oh, I just you know, it goes reverse actually. I forgot. I totally I've done this sales stuff in a long time. About 50% of the calls you have will be like that, actually. Be like, I really want to work with you, Ann, but we're not ready to start until Q3, Q4. It happens the other side.
Oh, yes, you're right.
So you really
I forgot
have
about
to
that.
do it
And
now.
that actually is a majority of the phone calls. When you talk to people and you hook them at a networking event or a lecture or you're speaking and they're like, ooh, I want to work with her. When the shit hits the road and they're like, okay, the rubber hits the road. I know what I'm saying. And they say, okay, we want to work with you. We need branding, but we probably won't be ready until that. That was one of my conversations literally yesterday. He said, I love all of this, but logistically speaking, I'm not going to be ready to go until mid-February to revisit this. Great. Like that actually, you're so right.
Forgot about that. So maybe it's even more than 30 then. Maybe even more than 30 leads because you have, because I forgot, it's not linear. So,
and branding is a very sensitive timing mechanism that those people can actually dedicate resources to do the work involved in branding, because it is heavy and it is time consuming and you can't avoid it. It's not automatic. So you're right. I think having even more conversations to align the who's ready now and who's ready in the future is huge.
What kind of business, what's your ideal, what business type customer do you want?
So we actually really want to work with like Denver's premier business sector, which is healthcare, SaaS providers, technology companies.
Pick a company out of a hat. Like I'm trying to understand.
I would say like...
I know I won't know the name, but you can then describe it after you pick it.
Hang on, I'm thinking about this because it's changing. There's a lot of banks here too that are trying to go human first for relationships, and real estate brokerage houses as well, because they're human first. But I would say for a healthcare side, so there is a group. What is it called? It's called, I think it's Colorado Physician Partners. Okay. So my doctor's office was just acquired. They used to be a small privately held partner doctor's office. And then last year they got acquired, and then they went through this whole shitstorm of rebranding. But then yesterday I actually had a doctor's appointment with a phenomenal doctor there now who gave me kind of the behind the scenes of everything that's happened. And so they were acquired a lot of healthcare companies and small private practices of dentists, pediatric offices for sure that are started by the doctors because they love the care for kids. And then they're all getting acquired and eaten up by these bigger guys. Most of our hospital systems now are on this national chain of like UHC. Anyway, I'm diverting.
So you want to standardize. You want to standardize.
Yeah, they want to standardize.
They acquired a bunch of these small folks. They're all got their own
So Colorado Physician Partners is who I learned acquired my doctor's office. And I looked them up and they would be an ideal target for us. They are a medium-sized local Colorado healthcare company that is acquiring all of these smaller privately held doctor's offices and practices. And they're buying out the original doctors. And some of those doctors are staying. Some of them are just piecing out. Almost all of the doctors at my practice have been replaced. The turnover was insane. I've seen 5 different providers there in the last year and a half. And now I finally think I have my one, but it took a lot for the dust to settle.
So how many of those type of companies that you can realistically target? It can't be much.
It's not many. It's maybe in the hundreds.
Like 5 or less.
No, there's in the hundreds because it's multiple different sectors. It's healthcare, it's SaaS providers, it's consulting firms, it's service providers. It's all people and service providers that care about human-centric brand design. It's not product companies.
No, it's not. It's not the human-centric design. It is the fact that these are M&As. These are M&As that happen, and the branding is all disconnected.
So guess where I'm going, Matt? You just led me into this new group I forgot to mention that I'm actually seeking a board seat for. So there's a group, there's a lot of M&A groups here. There's a lot of women's only M&A groups here. It's a huge scene in Colorado, but there's the Rocky Mountain chapter of AM and AA. It's all about M&As. And I'm playing poker with this huge M&A group because I love poker. So I'm like literally one of 2 females in a room of 200 men. And I'm like networking for M&A and venture capitalists and brokerage firms that are buying and selling businesses. And that's where we want to position. And so I'm actually going to this flannel wearing, axe throwing Rocky Mountain region M&A's networking group in a couple weeks because they have one board seat that they want someone in the marketing and creative space to fill. So I have the bandwidth to do one board position right now as my volunteer. And that's where I want to go because then I would be overseeing a lot of the M&A events, being a leader in that space, and then being able to speak and also position myself as a thought leader in that space for branding in the M&A space, which is exactly where we want to be.
Then that makes sense.
So, these are all of the things I've been thinking of the last couple months and the work I've been doing to position and change rooms. All I've been doing is I need to change my room. I need to keep talking to people, but the rooms I'm talking to aren't working. They're not my target and they don't have money because they're all solopreneurs trying to bootstrap it. So I need to be changing rooms, and this is part of that play.
Yeah. So this makes your branding makes sense a little bit.
Cool.
Fix and form, because then fix and form, right? You're broken not because the company's broken. It's because you went through the activity of acquiring a bunch of businesses. So because of the cohesive brand is broken out of the result of that, and you have to fix it.
Well, and the brand communication.
It's not like I'm a small business and my branding is slowly dying and I need a refresh. It's different. It's a problem that created out of the fact of an M&A.
Well, it's very much branding for more of an HR problem. So if you think about Colorado Physician Partners, they have to manage so many people and expectations and communicate the brand intentions clearly of what's happening in this acquisition. They have to not only communicate it with the doctors and the team of that doctor's office they've acquired, but then they have to communicate that with all of their patients so that they don't lose. There isn't a high turnover because their goal in acquiring these is to keep the patients, right? Because they're successful. So that's a brand play. That's making sure that your foundation is solid so that you can go market that foundation and communicate that clearly to the people. So when you're talking to a human-centric brand design firm with the branding and the design at the forefront of the people involved, it's very personal.
I think healthcare and banks make sense, but that's why I was saying what's your total addressable market then for leads, because I can't see the same for all industries, like industrial manufacturing, right? It's harder to apply that there. But for banks,
companies, we're actually getting into more into like construction companies and, looking at accounting firms and real estate firms. There's a lot of locally born companies like that are growing by acquisition.
Right.
And I think that's a huge trigger for us. If you're growing by acquisition, that takes a brand makeover that is very human centric.
Yeah, you have to test that.
I
think, yeah.
We're getting there. We're getting a lot closer, but those are who we're working with, which is totally different from where we've been, because we've worked with a lot of small business and solopreneurs that are starting mission-based businesses, that they are on a mission to solve something, or they didn't feel like it existed, so they had to go start it themselves, or it's their life's purpose and work to run this business, and they want to make sure it's human-centric in the branding, which we still do. We'll still service small businesses and nationwide clients, but it's more like 10% or so of our business that we'll take.
Mm-hmm.
Our target 80-90% is going to be the client I just talked about.
I think there's two types of businesses for human centric. There's those who are more on the compassionate side, mm-hmm. and there are those who are more on the cohesive side, right?
What does that mean?
You have, if you're going to a tax firm, mm-hmm. to say we're going to rebrand to be more human centric, I'm not 100% sure, but I have a good feeling it's not their top priority to be human centric from a compassionate end. Their top priority is to make you feel trusted. It's less we're going to make you happy. It's more like, we know our shit. We do mm-hmm. the best in the region, mm-hmm. and you can trust us because we've been around forever. And if you acquired a bunch of these brands, they're all little variations of that, mm-hmm. and it's not. And you have, like, you have your main company, and then it says like the parent company right underneath, and it's like it's all random, right? Uh-huh. You need cohesive. You gotta streamline it. Sometimes it also means rebranding. When you acquire these smaller companies, they're like, we got to get rid of that brand entirely, and it needs to be fitting in our main brand in general. Yep. Right? They're going to be looking at that as from saying. Like, we got to build trust. Like we're the trust is eroding. We don't care about I wouldn't say we don't care about compassion is not the priority. Trust is a priority. So then the
cohesion of the old brand to the new, and having that.
So
cohesion.
You can still be human centric though, but I think play around with how you're positioning that North Star, because the North Star is very easy to say. If you're human centric and you're more going the compassionate route, you feel more of a healthcare rebrander than a tax firm rebrander, right? Yep. Just from a gut feeling end. So play around with the wording there, because I think there's a lot of opportunity to still to apply your North Star correctly, but mm-hmm. don't let the leads misinterpret that.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's a great point. Thanks, Matt.
There's a lot of opportunities. Your business is so easy to grow. That's why I see it. So it's like
it really is. It is a really fun and easy and great place to grow and evolve over time. But my youngest just came home from school, so that's a wrap for me. We got to call it. Thanks, Matt, for the conversation.
Thanks, Ann. Have a great Friday. Have a good weekend, and we'll chat next time.
All right, great. Thanks.